Abbey here with High Five Practice, and I'm excited to bring you guys another Let's Eat with Abbey. Again, it's every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Time. I bring on people and we talk about all things dental to set you guys up for success. And once again, although I say eat, I don't actually physically mean eat for us, because what I mean is educate, automate, and target. And you guys know that I say that a lot. But by all means, it is 12 o'clock. It is the lunch hour. So you can definitely be eating on this time while I break down some information for you. So today I have a very special guest. I have Mike Sula here with Local Med to talk about generating appointments with an online scheduler. So welcome, Mike, and thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Abbey. I'm super pumped to be on here. And I love the acronym EAT for two different reasons, after learning, of course, what it stands for. But also, I love eating, too. So I was enjoying Chipotle or something similar to that. That's my go-to all the time.
You can't fight that, you know? It's like the best things in the world. Education, automation, targeting. Oh, food. Actually, physical.
Exactly.
I need to like start sending people meals, and then like we can actually be eating together. But I talk about that every time. Like I you know, it's a balance. You don't want also people just like shoving their faces while this is happening. Well, Mike, you're with Local Med, so go ahead, for people that don't know who you are and what Local Med is. Kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, my name is Mike Sula, and I work for Local Med by Dental Intelligence, part of the Dental Intelligence family, and I've been a part of the company for 3 years now. I've been in dental for over a decade, so definitely very familiar in the space, and just love working with dentists. Have worked with from single sole practitioners to just getting experience in the DSO and group space. So kind of just understanding and talking with dentists. My favorite thing is getting back to conferences and getting to meet dentists one-on-one and hearing their issues and being able to provide those solutions. I know it's going to happen. I cannot wait. I have it on the schedule, the first one that I'm going to. So it's
which one is it?
What's that?
What are you going to? Which one?
I'm going to the DEO conference that's happening in it's happening in Phoenix. It's part of Mark Costas' Dental Success Institute, and that's the big, large.
We're going to be there.
Oh, you're going to be there?
Yes.
Awesome. That's so great. Well, so even more pumped about it, too. It's going to be a lot of great people there.
That is awesome. For anybody that's not going, you should go. It might be a little late, but yeah. That's awesome.
It's not the DEO, it's the DSS. I got that confused. So that's Dental Success Summit is actually where I'm going.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I am with you on this. The amount of, I love the dental community and the fact that we can all be like back together again. And it's kind of like with the pandemic, it's kind of like when you haven't seen your family in a long time, and now everyone's reunited and you get to see like what's been happening. And
so true. So true. Yeah, it is like a little road family. You get to see everybody, and everyone's been hustling hard, and hug it out. I can't wait for it. So
I'm so excited. Well, okay, that's awesome. That's amazing that you've been in dental for a decade and that you've had all these different types of experiences with dental practices, from single to DSOs. That is incredible. So you probably have noticed a lot about efficiencies with practices. So as far as Local Med and being an online scheduler, how do you see that being valuable to the practice? Why do you think online scheduling is so important?
Yeah, great question. I mean, when you look at it, everybody's looking from a position of convenience in today's age. And everyone always talks about the patient experience and improving the patient experience. I like to talk about the customer experience, and you kind of divide it into two places. The customer experience is before they know your practice and before they actually walk in the door. And then the patient experience begins when they walk in. That's kind of the lingo that we like to talk about. So if you can improve that customer experience, think about the last time that you bought something. You wanted convenience. You wanted it quick. You wanted to be able to kind of have it automated and done for you. You didn't want to pick up the phone. You didn't want to request a form and wait for a callback. You just wanted to be done and over with and kind of check that box. And that's what online scheduling has done to really revolutionize not only other industries, but now it's revolutionizing the dental industry too.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so true. Customer versus a patient. Because if they haven't really, they're not a patient of record, they're technically not a patient yet. So making sure they have that ease. And we talk about this a lot too with our campaigns, making it so easy and convenient to your point. So you can't expect anybody to do anything if you don't tell them what to do and make it easy for them to do it. So it's one thing to be like, yeah, call me, but why don't you set up an actual time? Why don't you actually have them act on whatever it is you want them to do? So
absolutely. I mean, think about the last time you booked a flight. I mean, was it picking up the phone and calling a travel agent and
thank God no.
try to stay on hold? I mean, you just simply looked up the airline or looked up orbits or whatever it was, looked, where you wanted to go, from where you're traveling, what dates, and then you picked what was most convenient for you. Because they lowered those barriers of entry for you was probably the reason that you ended up booking with them. So that's what needs to be done in all areas of our life when you're looking at your business.
Absolutely. And I think like a lot of times I'm sure you hear the feedback of practices are like, well, it's all about the patient's experience. And I want to make sure I'm the one talking to them. I want to make sure they hear my voice. They have that. But it's about consistency too. You can't deliver a great experience if they're on hold and they're waiting to hear your voice. You can't deliver that great experience. It's not consistent, like give them the control to do that. And then if you want, call them after they made the appointment and make that touch point on time that you have available. But just like basing it off of them to even just book an appointment with you and just to hear your voice, it's great. It's a great touch point. But try to think of it in a different, more strategic way to make it a better experience for the patient.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love this stat you guys had on one of your pages. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I'm going to throw it up here. 77% of patients want to self-schedule. I mean, if that doesn't say it in itself,
yeah,
the consumers want, right?
For sure. And to your point, you can always have that personal touch. And I think that's what as I've talked to a lot of dentists, they're kind of reluctant to do online scheduling because they think, oh, I'm going to lose that personal touch of my patients want to talk to us. They want to talk to us, which is true. But in a lot of instances, there's also patients that don't want to talk to you. There's friends that you will call and they won't pick up the phone call, but they'll text you right back. And think of those patients. There's ones that don't want to pick up the phone and call. And if you can give them an option to book an appointment easier and get them into your practice, I mean, you're going to open up your practice to a whole nother segment of patients that you otherwise wouldn't have touched.
That's so true. Because you have to think of, it's not what the majority want. You want to know what everybody, like have an avenue for literally anybody. If they'd rather be emailed, if they'd rather be text message or get a text message, they'd rather get a phone call, if they'd rather do it all online, have all of those opportunities available for your patients so they have total control and you are customizing every patient's experience differently. And whether you know it or not, it's just by having these different touch points, these different softwares available to do that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't even tell you how many practices that they're missing sometimes 15, 20% of their phone calls on a daily basis. And then think about patients that might be calling after hours or the weekend. Now, if you can offer an option, hey, if you're looking to schedule an appointment, you can just simply go to our website or go here to our Facebook page or Google and schedule. That's exactly hitting that point, Abbey, it's getting a segment of patients that maybe you weren't able to touch before. I love the saying, there's when you go on the extra mile, there's no traffic on the extra mile. Like when you go when you're taking that extra mile, there's very few people that take that. So now you're opening up to that segment and to an opportunity to succeed at that next level.
Yeah, exactly. And why always be the last person to do it? Like it's, be proactive. Go ahead and send that out, have that ready, have that implemented as far as an online scheduler, just so you have. And I would also say there's a lot of times patients don't even know that that is an opportunity at whether it's your practice or in dental as a whole, or they may expect it. So, I mean, I think a lot of times that's not what my patients want. Oh, my patients don't like digital. They don't like. That's because you've never offered it before. If you actually offered it and you told them, hey, you booked an appointment through the call, that's awesome. I just wanted to let you know there's different ways to do it, just so you're aware. it's little touch points like that they, oh, I will absolutely book online next time. And I will absolutely not have to worry about, because sometimes you're at work and you just don't want to drop everything and make that call. It's not necessarily a touch point. It's just, like you said, convenience. It's just the amount of, if I can go on a site right now, click it, and then talk to you when I'm in the office as much as possible, that's an even better experience because you did make it easy and convenient for me to implement.
Yeah, it's more options. If you can give more options for convenience, the more options, the better when it comes
Absolutely.
to that.
Well, of course, we always want to know about generating appointments. We want to be able to generate the most appointments possible. So we're talking about online scheduler, but describe more in depth about how easy it is for patients to book an appointment for the practice.
Yeah, so it's on average, you can book an appointment within 60 seconds from start to finish. It's just very simple, very easy. And I don't even think I mentioned this, which is probably the most important. LocalMed, we created the first real-time, fully integrated online scheduling platform. So that's actually reading their practice management system, seeing openings that they have, and filling appointments in real time back into that into the correct columns. So along with that, one question that we always get is, well, are patients going to just start showing up and booking appointment times for as long as they want, for whenever they want? And the answer to that question is no. You're in 100% control of when you're seeing patients. If you book a hygiene patient for an hour in this chair, that's exactly where we're going to look for openings. So you're 100% in control. Just like airlines, you can't call up United and tell them when you want them to pilot a plane for fly you somewhere. It's like, hey, we got a plane, we're flying here on this date. Here's the seats that are open. Do you want it? Yes or no? You feel in 100% control that whole time, but it's ultimately United that's controlling that schedule. Same thing in the dental offices. It's the doctor, it's the front desk that's going to be controlling that schedule. And the patient experience is just so much easier for those that want it.
I love the airline analogies. These are great because it is true. It's something we're used to doing. It's something that we all are aware of, and that's a great way to put it. Is making you still have full control, and the patient also has full control. That's always that's what you have to provide nowadays. You have to provide patients have more access to so many different avenues now, not in dental, obviously just dental, but everything from booking a restaurant to just going and meeting friends. Like you have, if you want to know about dental implants, if you want whatever you want to know, you can look up, find, and get within a matter of seconds for this case, or minutes. And if you don't have these capabilities, you're not convenient. But most importantly, the patient doesn't feel in control. And that's where that fear comes in dental, right? Like they don't understand, they're scared. They don't feel like they're in control of what's happening. But if you give them the keys to actually have full control over their oral health and understand what's going on and educate them about their opportunities and then make it easy for them to act, it's huge. So having something like this gives them control where they feel more like you're trusting them, and then therefore they're going to trust you. If that makes
Absolutely. You know, the example that comes to mind is think about the last time that you bought something online. You know, I'm sure everyone, if we did a poll of the audience right now, the last time you bought something from Amazon. I always love using this example because I'll do it in a classroom setting. I'll say, when's the last time you bought something from Amazon? Was it a week ago? Keep your hands raised if it was 4 days ago. Keep your hands raised if it's 2 days ago. How about the last day? How about the last 12 hours? You know, how about the last 6, 3, 2? And then it's always the person that someone's like, I just bought something like 6 minutes ago online, you know? But when you think about that convenience, you go to Amazon, you find the product you want, you click a button, and it shows up at your door in the next day or two. It's convenient, it's quick and easy. Now, imagine Amazon got rid of their shopping cart feature and replaced it with a request a product form. So you had to fill out the form, you had to fill out your email, your phone number. You're going to get a phone call within the next couple hours from someone. Maybe you're going to pick up, maybe you won't. And they're going to tell you, yes, we have that product in stock. Do you still want to buy it? Now, under that experience, right, you're cringeworthy.
Yeah.
But under that experience, would you still buy that product? Probably not. Maybe you will. but Amazon sales would probably get cut in half overnight.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about dental practices. That's the way that most dental practices are booking patients in today. They have a request an appointment form. Someone fills out their name, their email, and then you call that patient back in maybe the next hour. They don't pick up because they don't recognize the number. Game of phone tag. Sometimes they call back, sometimes they don't. And those request and appointment forms have less than a 20% success rate. So it's just, when you think about it from that common sense standpoint, the local med for dental offices is what the shopping cart is for Amazon. It's a quick call to action. Here's what we got. Do you want an appointment? You can book it right now. And because of that, you get more new patients at the end of the day.
Oh, that makes me cringe. It's so true, because you might be in the moment. It's like, I got to do this. And then as soon as you ask me if I should do this, well, did I do this?
Yeah, it's like, wait, maybe I shouldn't do this. Like, no, I kind of had reservations going back to the dentist anyway. So, you know what? This must be a sign.
Yeah, exactly. And Genevieve Poppy always talks about this too, and I love this. She's a consultant, and she's always talking about how when you ask them, like when you just propose treatment, and then they get up to the front and they're like, "Do you what?" Like, there's hesitation or questioning. It's like, why are you questioning? No,
right? Exactly. It's like assuming.
They're so excited. Yeah, they're so excited, and you can't assume exactly the situation you're in is what they're in, whether it's financially or just confidence. You know, just like I'm excited about getting this treatment. I'm pumped. And now you just doubted me. I'm pumped about going to your dental practice, and now you just doubted me or made me question it. Like,
exactly.
No.
You want to keep it short and sweet. Yes, we're going to get this done for you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think a lot of hesitation is with the teams. So, but there's a lot of efficiency that can be done with the team, so they can focus on the calls that come in. But yeah, before I dive into it, what are the most benefits that you find that the teams have by using something like an online schedule like Local Med?
Yeah. So, I mean, think of this as your best employee in your dental practice. It works 24/7. It can take appointments exactly when you want to take appointments, and only those appointments. And they never call in sick. They never have a vacation day, right? They never sleep. So it's just a very quick and easy way to also free up the front desk time. So a lot of times a lot of offices and people in general are resistant to change. And I get it. You know, anything that's different is scary until you kind of get into it. The first time someone drove a car, like was riding a horse and then drove a car, it was probably a very scary moment too. Mm-hmm. And same thing with this, any new technology. But at the end of the day, what we're finding with dental offices is it's freeing up time of the front desk, so they're not constantly answering phone calls. They're able to give more patient care. They're able to engage with the patients while they're in the office and make more of that connection. So it's able to retain those patients even more. And also, when you look at, in order to book an appointment with a patient, a lot of times it takes 5 or 6 attempts. So let's say someone fills out a request and appointment form. It takes about 5 or 6 phone calls to get in touch with that patient. And then 1 out of 3 of them schedule. So that can be anywhere from 15 to 18 phone calls for every patient that's scheduled on average. Wow. So when you book 10 patients, that's saving you, let's say, 150 calls. And that's a couple hours of time. You know, we had offices during the end of last year. As I said, I was working with some groups, and one office in particular sent out a bulk scheduling message of a bunch of overdue hygiene patients for the practice. They were trying to fill their schedule in the fall. They sent out one text message, and within an hour, and it had a link for a Local Med right in there, and within an hour they had 42 patients that scheduled in that time.
Oh, now, I love that.
That's just hours and hours of back and forth phone tag, and you gave that patient the convenience, and now they're booked back in the calendar. And there's no work that has to be done except just bring them through that great patient care once they get to the practice.
It's so huge when you talk about efficiency and the amount of calls that you're making per person that you're trying to get in, per new patient that you're trying to get in, or even current patients. Obviously, we want to be scheduling them while they're in the office for their reappointment, but when it doesn't happen, we have these automations in place to be able to do that, or not even automations, sending out a campaign to recall. I mean, that's where we live and breathe, and we can definitely take a campaign or an email and text, send it out. And if we have local med on top of it, it creates no barriers for the patients. They see they're overdue. They're excited to see the photo of the doctor. They click to book an appointment, not request, but book an appointment, and then actually schedule their time online. You just blew their mind. You're not gonna lose them at that point. Where if it's harder, not only is it hard with your practice, but think of all the other practices that they may or may not be also trying to schedule from. They might be taking how many calls. No wonder they haven't been in the practice for 3 years. You know, like they're over it.
You got to think of it, and you bring up a great point, Abby, because you got to think when that patient gets that text message. Let's say you don't have local med scheduling or something similar. Imagine they get that text message or they get that email, and it's saying, "Hey, it's time to come back in to book a hygiene appointment. Please call our office or fill out this request form if you do." And now you're getting that same cycle of where you get in that game of phone tag, and you get, or that patient's like, "Oh, I got to do that. I got to remember to do that." And then it's not top of mind anymore, and it's forgotten. And these patients slip through the cracks. So you're spot on. It's that shopping cart. It's boom. Oh, I need a hygiene appointment. I need to come in for a cleaning. Hit this link, booked in, done.
Yeah. And it's also the fact of they just have, or telling them right there, right before, we always like to say exactly, not only will there be a big button that exudes their brand, right? But it's also, so it'll say book an appointment, but even right before, there's a line before and it says, "Hey, to schedule your appointment and get you in, call this number, or you can schedule online directly by clicking the button below." Like,
yeah.
Stupefy it, you know, make sure that it's to the point. And they still have the option to call. They still have the option to do whatever way they want to. You're opening that up. But the fact that you just explained their options and said exactly what to do, and then they do it. And yeah, it's so easy. You click the button and it's done. You see the schedule, you see the openings compared to yours, and you're done.
Absolutely. And take that from a new patient perspective too. That's if that's the first kind of experience with your office, you're seen as high tech. You're seen as convenient. You're seen as cutting edge because it's something they haven't seen before. You know, I always love giving this example too. There's some places that offer like haircuts around my work that either you can call for an appointment or you can go in and just wait and hopefully you can get in there. That's how the guys' appointments work. You know, we're not really picky. So there's a place that's probably wouldn't fall into my top 10. I won't say their names, but it won't fall in my top 10. But I'll go on their website and I can see there's availability in 20 minutes for me to book. And I can book an appointment and walk straight in for an appointment and not have to wait.
Wow.
And I'll go to them, even though they're like not in my top 10 favorite, I know I might not get the best haircut, but it's convenient, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times patients will come in the first time based on convenience, but then they'll stay because of how they're treated and how well the patient care is. You know, of course, they're getting referrals, but they'll normally get about like 3 top referrals, reach out to those all 3. I've even heard that millennials will jump in and say, and I'm on the cusp of that too, so I'm guilty in this category. We'll get the top 3, like ask their friends, "Hey, I need to find a dentist." We'll ask 3 friends. They have 3 different ones, and they'll request appointments at all 3 of their sites. And then the first one that gets back to them, they're essentially a patient of, which sounds crazy, but they're looking for
spot on. Yeah.
What that says to me is they want convenience. They want someone great that their friends recommended, but then they want convenience on top of that too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you say that it's high tech, because it's true. That is what people are looking for nowadays. They want to see cutting edge. They want to see your 3D imaging. They want to see CAD CAM in the office. Yeah. They want to be able to book online and text with you or have virtual consults. Like, these are just this is where dentistry is going, is just to be that more convenient. If I could look at a dental schedule and see that they're available when I'm available, like instantly, that's huge. Just to, again, gives me more control, but also I can't back out. It's happening, right? It's instant, and it's instant gratification, and I'm going to book it and I'll do it for life.
Yeah.
Because who wants to start over too? Like, who wants to start fresh and like looking and figuring it? I love when I can book my first appointment, come in, and then from then on out, I just talk to Amanda and she just gets me on the schedule every 6 months. I don't have to worry about it then. You know,
Exactly.
but
Make
things,
it
oh, sorry.
Oh, I was saying, when you make it easy for someone to do something, they're going to do it more often, and that's what it's all about. Human
Just
behavior.
don't make us think. Do not
Yeah.
make us. And we always say at High Five, we know how to talk to patients because we are your patients. And that, like, as a patient, that is what we are. Please, please make it easy to do it and make me not think.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about my treatment, educate me on what my options are, financial options. Tell me that I can book something online easily and promote it. We actually, with High Tech, this is something we love doing, is we send out a campaign to like all patients, letting them know, hey, did you know that we offer these amenities? And it could be, we have CAD cam, or we have big screen TVs so we can show you exactly what's going on in your mouth. That's a great opportunity to say we have online scheduling and then how it benefits them, because we want to be more accessible to you and be able to work with your schedule. Oh,
Yeah.
as a patient, you just melted my heart.
I love it. Yeah, exactly. You're speaking their language.
Yeah.
Point.
And if they don't know it doesn't exist, then they're not going to use it. So again, I encourage people, if not only you get it, promote it, say it in the office, send an email out, let people know that it's there and how and why it's there. It's to benefit them and for them to have the best experience. And they'll say, wow, you're not just doing this to drive business and make more money for your Porsche, because for some reason they always bring up dentist cars, which I don't get. But instead it's, oh, you're investing these things for me to have a better experience and for me to be taken care of. And I appreciate that for it. But I wouldn't know unless you tell me you're thinking that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know that, and this might be along the same topics too. I don't know how familiar, Abby, that you are with the Dental Intel growth platform, or if you played around in that at all, but there's a tool within it. It's called Patient Finder. And the reason I'm bringing this up is a lot of practices, if you've ever wanted more, hey, it'd be great if I had more of these type of patients in my practice, whether it's fulfilling treatment on crowns, or if you're wanting to do more dental implants or wanted to do more ortho, whatever that specific service is, Patient Finder is kind of a way, is a tool within Dental Intel's tool belt that you can kind of find those practices or find those patients within your practice management software. So it creates a very clean list. And now you can reach out to those patients. Let's say you pull a list, there's the last 6 months, we diagnosed these 76 patients for a crown that need one to start treatment, and they don't have a future appointment booked with us. You can now go in and start automating text messages to go out, to blast out to them, to book specifically back in for that crown appointment. So if you can make it very convenient to get the patients that you want back in, to give them easier access to oral health care, I mean, that's a win-win across the board for not only your practice, for that patient too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you're speaking my language right now, Mike. Like this is what I could go all day on this stuff. This is exactly like that. We use Patient Finder and Dental Intel for seeking out opportunities for our practices that have dental intel. And it allows you to target exactly who you want to go after. Whoever, we always say, whoever you want more of. So you just nailed it on the head. That's exactly what we always say too. Who do you want to see more of? Who are the patients that are ideal for you? Who are the ones that are loyal to your practice, but maybe just don't have the right tools to make it easy for them to go ahead and move forward? Because you don't know what lives these people are living, right? Or maybe you do, but at the end of the day, we know that they're all busy. They might be going through something. So just make it easy for them. If you want them to book a crown, or if you want them to move forward, say why it's important. And this is where we come in. So you can have that list, you can have everything available, but it's executing. I totally get that can be overwhelming, and that's it's marketing. It's a whole, you gotta understand what's going on and tracking it and making sure it's executed properly. But we'll throw in custom photography, and then so they know it's you, put that in there. But like you said, a text, oh my gosh, a text you can do if it is in regards to their treatment. So if you talk to them about crowns, you propose them crowns, you can text them that they're due for a crown, and hey, we'd love to get you in, and link it there. Send them an educational email on the benefits of crowns. Remind them of why, when they were in the chair, they agreed to it and why they were excited about it. They leave they forget, or they get questions by their spouse, or they question themselves, like, do I really need that right now? Maybe it's something I push off. You absolutely need it now, and here's why. And it feels custom to them, but really it's the same across the board. You can tell that to all the patients. You're educating them. You're letting them know the opportunities that they have by understanding where the value is for crowns or implants. And then you're making it easy for them to actually book the appointment. And next thing you know, they're in your chair, and you're like,
Exactly.
okay. But text messages, we always see a higher result. We see anywhere from, we say 10 to 100 per campaign that's sent. So take that by average production per visit for 460. You can do the math. But it has to be because it's easy. It's easy to use, and I love
it. I love it. I love that you guys are like synchronizing with the same tone of bringing those patients back in, because it's, I love the line where performance is measured, performance improves. And once you just bring your vision onto what you want, all of a sudden things in the world start aligning to go right along with that vision. And the same as it within dentistry. Whatever ideal patient that you want in the chair, if you focus on them and put a game plan and put mental energy behind it, that's ultimately what's going to help you win.
Yeah. And everyone's always going to say new patients, new patients, new patients. Absolutely. You have to have new patients, especially when you are worrying about attrition, right? But if you focus on keeping your patient and not just keeping patients, but patients you like, who comes to their appointments, who actually pays their bills on time, ask them to refer to their friends and family, keep them, don't make it inconvenient for them not to continue to come back. And then that'll make it more enjoyable for you when you come to the office. You get to see the patients you actually want to see and that you enjoy and that accept treatment, and you get to see their journey from beginning to end, or the never ending, right?
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm so happy you brought that up, Abby, because you're right. I think that we kind of have a fatigue in the dental space where it's like new patients, new patients, new patients. But if you actually spent maybe like half the effort of really putting a game plan to retain those good patients that you want, maybe you don't always have to be trying to backfill with new patients. And we see the data on dental intel side of practices that, hey, we got 50 new patients this month, but we actually had 60 go inactive. So you actually went backwards. So a lot of times getting that focus on keeping the current patients returning and happy is a better technique in a lot of instances to focus on.
And it's 5 to 25 times more expensive to get a new patient versus retain an existing one. So
I love that stat.
That to me, and you already did the hard part. You got them in. Why wouldn't you keep it? And I love those numbers with dental intel, that graph of new patients of like who's recaptured, who was lost. It's just opportunity, and you can figure out why are these patients leaving? Like what's going on? Is it inconvenience? Is it the customer service that you're providing? Is it clarity? They're not educated properly on their options and what's going on and what you offer. These are all things that you can reflect on. And we always like to do a survey at some point to the patients, asking, and same with reviews, right? You want to make sure you're getting feedback so you can retain them and keep them for life. And that's where our E.A.T comes in, educate, automate, target. That's our lifetime patient formula. That if you focus on your current patients and you make it easy for them, they will stay with you. They don't want to start over. They don't, unless they move, they don't want to, so, but it's all about convenience, and your practice will be healthier. Hands down, your practice will be healthier and happier if you do that.
I love it. I wrote down that stat, 5 to 25% or times more expensive with patients. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So Mike, tell me a little bit about more about Local Med and how fast you guys see results. And like you said, it connects directly with the management software, which is key. But so how does it's on its own site, and the patient just kind of walk us through it a little bit and how fast you see results?
For sure. So how setup's really quick. It takes 15, 20 minutes to install and kind of get the scheduling settings down. And then we create links or kind of widgets that can be placed on all the common places that patients will find you. Your website, the homepage of your website, your Facebook fan page, your Google directories, your Google My Business page rather, and then pretty much anywhere that you're marketing too. So if you're doing Google ads, if you're doing Facebook ads, if you're doing direct mailers that have QR codes on there, you can have them bring right to scheduling. We also have exclusive partnerships with dental insurance companies such as Humana, United Concordia, MetLife, just to name a few, that all have, so if someone's looking for an in-network provider, they can now click schedule an appointment, and it'll actually bring them to a local med link if they have local med scheduling, where they can schedule right from that. So it's very quick. And answer your question, how quickly can you see results? As soon as the links are posted live, within the hour. I mean, you'll start seeing patients come through. I love the really good story of a startup practice that we've worked with that was able to, before they opened their doors, they had 42 patients scheduled for their practice just by putting it on their voicemail, on the homepage of their website, Facebook, all these different places. They just had opening soon, and they had 42 patients pre-booked before they opened their doors. So it's just anywhere and everywhere you find your practice and your practice can be found, you can put links on there and make it very convenient for them to schedule through.
Wow, that is that's crazy. Your stress is gone. You're like, yeah, I got this. I'm gonna.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Take the pressure off.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the part about insurance. That is so key, because that's usually our top for our practices, top source of new patients is referrals, but insurance is always up there. And the fact that you guys can help those practices rank just by them being with local med and making sure, and not only that, but they can book directly from those pages, it makes the thought just go away. It makes it easier.
Yeah, exactly. And going back to that Amazon example too with the shopping cart, how much more likely are you to buy something from Amazon if they have a shopping cart or if they had a request a product form? Just thinking about human behavior with that. What we've calculated is most websites get about a 3 to 4% conversion rate. So like 100 patients come in, 3 or 4 of them become new patients. But when you implement low med scheduling, that jumps to about 6 or 7%, which is about anywhere between a 35 to 70% increase in conversion just by having the quote unquote shopping cart feature that, hey, book an appointment right now. And because of that convenience, you'll see more patients come in too.
Instant gratification. I'm not wondering, wait, did I book an appointment? Do I have an appointment scheduled with them? And then all of a sudden I show up because I requested these times. Did that go through?
Right.
It's
Did
instant.
anyone see this? Yeah.
Yeah. Hello. That's amazing. And same with Google too. We actually talked to Swal last week. I talked to Danny, and he was talking about how generating reviews is so important. And I think that's key too. That's a lot of times people aren't even visiting websites. They're doing everything right from Google because that card is right there. So you guys have a widget that connects. They can book it straight from Google right there.
Yeah. Right from your Google My Business page. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I also love, make sure I get this right, you guys can customize it for different procedures. So you can have your hygiene, you can go by providers, you can go by services, which I love for our campaigns because, oh my goodness, we need to get a recall. We'll target after hygiene, and it turns out the new hygienist is open. Let's go after her schedule and see if we can get her booked up to make up for lost time, right? Or
absolutely.
We talked about crowns. Send them directly to a crown so they don't have to answer questions. Explain them a little bit, because I think that's a huge feature a lot of people don't even utilize.
For sure. You're absolutely right. We were talking about implementation of, I can do that. And it's like, yep, you can. And that's exactly right. So if you're targeting overdue hygiene patients, you can pull up that exact, so they click the link and now they're just seeing available times for that. And that goes the same with filling certain providers, filling certain hygienist schedule. Yeah, that can all be done and customized for that.
And if you know your provider, you know who your hygienist is, you can also go to her calendar or his and make sure that, oh, I want to make sure I see the same person and that's my relationship. Oh my gosh, they're 6 months out. Worth it.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, we talked a lot about convenience and making sure automations are implemented. And when I say a lot of things aren't, so basically we go in and do an audit into practices and we look at what they might have, something like Modento, right? Or Revenue Well or Lighthouse or what have you. And they have these softwares, they have them turned on. But we go in, and this is the A in our E.A.T, and we see that they're like, oh, I already have that set up. Well, we find that their reminders are turned on and their recalls turned on. And then, of course, happy birthday, because nobody's scared of happy birthday. That's only 2 years. And then the rest, like reactivation, treatment plan follow-up, those types of messages are turned off because they're intimidating. People don't want those phone calls to the front about bad experiences. But when I think of local med and automations and how much this actually helps with practices, instead of manually sending out or manually booking, how much have you seen the increase of efficiency and describe like the differences you've seen in practices by implementing these things and by automating things so they're not, because it can be intimidating. They're like, I don't want to turn this on, I want full control. Where do you see the benefits of automations for practices?
Automation is huge. I mean, what we've seen is just being able to see the way that AI, like artificial intelligence, is working and be able to kind of pinpoint behaviors within dental practices too, and you can choose that cadence that it's going out. It starts to duplicate yourself in a way. So now you no longer have to put mind and energy into certain processes. And if that can be automated, that's totally raw off your plate. I mean, during COVID, if there's one positive thing that came from last year, it reminded from our side that automation is the absolute future of anything consumer based, which we are within the dental business. So putting those automated kind of solutions in place where you don't have to be mindful day to day when you're running this room to work with a hygiene patient and running over here and performing a crown and doing this and that. Mm-hmm. If you can have that automated, we've seen our practices that we're able to embrace that, truly thrive during this time when practices were struggling. So those that really kind of gleaned onto that technology were able to take leaps forward that they otherwise wouldn't have had the opportunity to, where other practices that maybe struggled with adopting that automation, we saw them kind of take a step back at that time, unfortunately. So it's definitely the way of the future. I love that we're talking about this, Abby, because this is the stuff that matters. It's how do we push our practices forward and get us where we want to be.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought up COVID and the pandemic, because obviously scary time, what have you, but the benefit of it is I think it pushed practices out of their comfort zone. Things that practices have been putting off for a long time, online schedulers, online patient forms, just online experience as a whole, automation, it just shows the power of it and how your team can be more efficient and effective with their time. I was talking to one of our office managers the other day, and she was saying, I was like, what is your typical day like? We're just doing some market research and diving into their heads. And she's like, I've got to make sure I'm sending out reminders to my patients, and then I have to follow up with everybody, and then I have to hire a new hygienist, and then I have to call. I have some team fielding questions, so I have to make sure my team's good and everyone's happy. Then I'm checking in the patients at the front, and then I was like, I'm sorry, you're supposed to do all of this in one day?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. You're going to go crazy. Let's turn on these automations. Let's make sure that, and like she was saying, it's been a lot of difference in their practice just to be able to go from trying to do everything manually, thinking that's for the patient because it's your personal touch, versus they still think it's your personal touch, but you got to touch them more. And I love that you said you're just duplicating yourself. You're cloning yourself out to make them you're more available to them because you're not trying to do everything manually. You're just turning things on. You get full customization of what the timelines are, how long it is, with and for emails and stuff, you get full custom verbiage. Everything you want to do is completely customizable. So clone yourself and don't go crazy trying to do it all. You're not going to be successful and you're going to be defeated.
Yeah, anyone that's kind of on the edge of that too right now that's listening, I would encourage just take that first step. Just just try it out a little bit, because once you go there, you'll never want to go back to your old ways. So once you see that your patients are getting taken care of, and now you can be freed up to give more oral health care to your patients in the chair, the better. And a lot of this stuff is just, it's not the most exciting stuff that you have to manually do either. So it can be automated and kind of get you thinking and working in other avenues. That's gonna only benefit your patients and only benefit your practice.
Absolutely. And just understanding what's out there, understanding what opportunity. I mean, if you do it multiple times, maybe Google it or call me or Mike and say, like, is this something out there? Like, is this something that can be automated? Because a lot of times people don't realize all the opportunities that is a zap away or a tech away. Like it's so many things that are so convenient and available. And I love seeing during the pandemic, just the dental community thrive through all this and be able to advance. I mean, even you guys were giving away amazing deals to make sure that just do this, you got to try it, and you just got to do it to be successful. And we've seen practices that were on that having their best months ever. So right when they were able to open back up. So, I mean, it's about being brave sometimes and just taking that challenge. And guess what? You can always go back to the old way of doing it. That's fine. But we encourage you to try it and just see how much it can really make your life better. So you can go home to your family and not worry about the practice after hours, because you're still booking appointments after hours.
Absolutely. I love that message, Abby. I love it.
Yeah. Well, Mike, we're wrapping up on some time here. So if you could give a tip to any of these practices to help them increase profits, what would that be?
Well, without sounding so self-serving, it's getting local scheduling into your practice. Our practices, last stat we took, and I know it's way higher than this now, but we've had over 12,000 dental providers that have joined our software. We're the first ones in the market for that. And we're seeing an average from those that are marketing a bunch and those that are marketing none. We take an absolute average across the board, and they're seeing an average 44-to-1 return on investment for our service. So it's just one of those things that talking about that, taking that first step, and it'd be game changer. Clients that have taken that first step, it's been a game changer for them. And we'd love to have the listeners on here take that first step and really see that same experience of what life could be.
Absolutely.
Put it in there.
Absolutely. And there's no commitment or anything like that, correct? You can just, is it month to month? Remind me what price?
So we do have a month to month option, or you get a little bit better pricing if you do a year-long agreement, but there's a month to month option as well. So, you can cancel at any time with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've provided getlocalmed.com/high5-practice right there on the screen. I think I'm pointing at it right. There we go. If you guys want to just book some time and talk about and see if it's a great option for you, that is awesome. I'm so glad, Mike, that you joined me today. You had some great insight, and I really think this will make an impact on a lot of practices to make their lives a lot easier. So thanks for coming in, and I hope to have you back. Everybody, yeah, of course.
Thanks so much, Abby.
Of course. And everybody, next time, I'll see you next Wednesday, 12 p.m. Central Time. And I look forward to seeing you again on Facebook Live. And Mike, we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.